Everybody, welcome back. Craig Schaup here with George Thomas, our film critic from the Akron Beacon Journal. George is here, and we've got a big show slated for today. We have a new review from George, but then also a big blowout summer movie preview as we head closer into Memorial Day weekend. George, how are you doing?
Forgive me, I just got in the house. I'm doing well.
Well, and I know that you're not, unfortunately, going to be able to review The Mandalorian and Grogu. That was a Don screener for you, but you're going to see it tomorrow. So we'll talk about that next week. But you do have something new. Jack Ryan has been a franchise for decades now, and it's been
36 years.
primarily now in TV with John Krasinski, although now they're getting a movie treatment, not theatrical necessarily, but a movie treatment. I know you've liked the John Krasinski TV show, and obviously there's been some really solid movies in the franchise throughout these near 40 years. Tell us about this movie, and is this got some staying power to maybe become something bigger than just an Amazon Prime original?
Now, see, here's my contention. Krasinski is the best Jack Ryan since Harrison Ford.
Sure.
And my contention is that's one of the best action literary characters ever created.
Mm-hmm.
And Jack Ryan belongs on a bigger screen with the right actor, period. I know Ben Affleck tried. I forgot. Chris
Pine
tried.
Yeah.
They couldn't. I don't know if it was the acting, the writing, or what, that it just didn't land with audiences. They took it on in mid-level movies. Now, Jack Ryan Ghost War from Prime Video is just a mid movie, okay? But it's one of those mid-tier okay action films that we used to see in theaters, and in the hands of the right actor, it's worth seeing in theaters. And this is the case with Ghost War. And I don't see why maybe this is a test run because I wrote my review for it this afternoon because Amazon MGM Studios is kind of on a roll right now with Project Hail Mary and the Sheep Detectives even, and they have access potentially, and I don't know what the legalities are, to one of the best thinking man's action characters in film, and on a streaming service. And it's a spy movie, espionage movie. Big whoop. You know you're going to get that from a Jack Ryan movie. The strength of this version of the franchise is the characters. Ryan being one of them, as played by John Krasinski, but Wendell Pierce is James Greer as well. Let's go with Krasinski first. He brings a very understated kind of rogue charm, I guess is the best way to put it, to the role.
Yeah.
I mean, he adds a level of depth because when we first met Jack Ryan 36 years ago, even with the Alec Baldwin character, he was a married man with a family, right? That continued in the Harrison Ford films. And this character, this version of Jack Ryan has not married his wife Kathy yet, doesn't have a family. And he's learning for what everybody in this day and age is yearning for, work-life balance. He wants a life. He wants, I don't want to call it the American dream anymore, but he wants a life. And his inner debate is about whether he's going to have it. It's a question of personal duty versus duty to country. And Krasinski is very effective at dealing with the issue in a casual kind of way through the little dialogue they give him to discuss it. It comes in the discussions with other characters who are in a similar situation. And that's what I like about this version of Jack Ryan. He's not perfect. He's still looking for his place, even if he is some whiz kid guru to the CIA. The other character, James Greer, Wendell Pierce. I mean, first of all, the two of them, he's Ryan's friend, mentor, and boss. But the two of them have a chemistry that's uncanny because Wendell Pierce does something different with the role. I mean, James Earl Jones portrayed the part. Pretty sure Morgan Freeman took on the part. And those versions of James Greer are very matter of fact. I won't call them timid. They're stern. Wendell Pierce's James Greer is fiery, passionate. And I appreciate that about the character. And I appreciate the fact that Pierce brings that to the role. It's a different take on the character. And that's what makes the movie appealing. Those two. The story,
Yeah.
He's trying to stop the world from being
Right.
I mean, that aspect is predictable. And the filmmakers know that that's predictable. So they give us something different here. Ultimately,
Yeah.
I gave it a B. I see it's taking a beating from other quarters. I don't care. It's the characters. It's the actors.
Yeah. Why do you think something like this, obviously you said it was sort of that mid-level kind of action movie. Why do you think that maybe Amazon doesn't quite know what to do with this? Like, we've seen the films before. Of course, they had the popular series on Amazon for 4 seasons. But this kind of screams like this should be a movie released in theaters, right? I mean, why? What do you think could have gotten it to that level? Did it need to be elevated from what it was, or was it good enough, you think, to get a theatrical release?
I think it's a trial balloon. I really do. That's what I
But,
believe.
but if it's a trial, wouldn't the trial be best served in theaters? Because you've already had 4 seasons of a TV program.
Correct. But you had 4 seasons of, let's call them 1-hour episodes.
Yeah.
As opposed to a full-length feature film. So, I mean, you're dealing with that streaming audience. And my argument is, well, unless you're dealing with bingers, they have the attention span of gnats.
Right.
So there we go. It's a valid question. But and that's why I also think there may be legal issues. I mean, you'd think there wouldn't be, given that Prime and Amazon MGM Studios are owned by the same company. But from what I understand, Skydance, Paramount still owns part of the character, and that could be it.
Oh, okay.
So there we have it.
Okay. Well, I mean, do you think this is going to, obviously the show ran its course, in 2023. So obviously they've gone into the movie industry here with this character again. Do you feel like they're going to continue this process maybe? Or it seems like they could also maybe partner with Skydance if they wanted to do some sort of a theatrical, release at some point with this character.
Movie studios never hook up. Not ever. I obviously, I think part of it depends on Krasinski. I do, but I could see them continuing this easily, without a doubt.
Okay. All right. Well, something for people to look at if they are not going to theaters. But I got to tell you, George, this summer, this feels like we're back. Like post-COVID, post-strikes, things seem like tangible now to me. And I say that as we head into this summer movie preview. There are some blockbusters coming out this summer and even into the fall and winter. But the summer obviously is going to be dominated by a lot of IP, sequels, threequels, whatever you want to call it. But there's so many great filmmakers that are coming out. with movies that there's a lot of excitement. How do you kind of assess the overall summer as you look at the schedule?
I don't assess it that way.
Okay.
I look at the schedule and I thought, man.
Really?
Besides
Okay.
the Odyssey and
Mhm.
and Disclosure Day,
Yeah.
and here's what was in Supergirl. Here's what was telling for me. Two Netflix documentaries made my list of most intriguing films of the summer.
Okay.
Not a lot of other things trip my trigger. Nope, nope, nope. Um, you know, I guess we'll have to see what the Punisher does in Spider-Man. Although I'd like to know how they're going to get that character integrated into the Spider-Man franchise. Um, Masters of the Universe, right in my wheelhouse, right? I didn't watch that cartoon.
I did.
And
So much so. Now I will say this: the '80s movie was horrible, and I don't really expect much out of this. But as a He-Man fan growing up, we had a family cat named Cringer, named after He-Man's trusty sidekick cat. So yeah, I'm interested in Masters of the Universe, fully aware that it will probably be more campy B movie esque, which is fine. You need some of those. But you talk about there's two big heavy hitter directors coming with Steven Spielberg with Disclosure Day, and of course Christopher Nolan with the Odyssey. Those are two real titans of the industry as far as filmmakers go. Not to mention, they're not doing sequels. I mean, obviously the Odyssey is based off of a Homer poem, but it's an original movie. And of course, Disclosure Day, is Steven Spielberg back in science fiction, aliens, making contact with with others. I mean, this is, there's at least two movies that really excite me here. And then of course, there's Spider-Man Brand New Day coming out.
You count two. And that's
well,
and that's what I thought looking at the schedule.
Yeah.
Two. And forgive me, I come from an era when every weekend during the summer was jam-packed with something.
Yeah.
And they weren't afraid to go head to head against one another. So
yeah, I get that. Well, yeah, and the Odyssey will be going head to head really with Spider-Man, really only a week difference in terms of or 2 weeks difference maybe in the release. Toy Story 5, though, obviously Toy Story's been a very important franchise to a lot of people. Obviously, it goes into that sequel, threequel, everything territory, but it's at least a movie that you would expect to make some money.
It'll make money, but the problem with Toy Story 5 for me is they're that close to losing me with this franchise. Because Toy Story 4 was a case of WTF for me. What did they do there? It was lackluster. Yeah. It did nothing for me. It had no emotional heart. So I might be hopeful for Toy Story 5, but maybe I'm just old.
No, I get it. I mean, I'm obviously we're both Minions fans, and there's another Minions movie coming out, and that franchise has kind of maybe run its course a little bit too, especially when the Minions are main characters like they are in these offshoot movies from Despicable Me. But I agree, Supergirl looks interesting. I'm kind of interested to see how that moves this new DC universe forward.
See, I look at Supergirl and I'm like, that I can see that movie has heart. There's emotional resonance in the freaking trailer.
Yeah.
In the trailer. Plus, you get Jason Momoa as Lobo, which thrills me to no end. Are you familiar with the character?
I am, yeah.
Look, did you ever watch Superman the animated series?
Yeah.
If it's anything like the character from the animated series, I'm gonna love it.
Yeah.
I really am. As for The Mandalorian, I'm going tomorrow. And here you go. I'm seeing it in IMAX. I have an IMAX theater near me now.
That's good. That is good to know.
I'm seeing it in IMAX, but it's only tracking at $80 million. This is a Star Wars movie.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot.
Disney Plus series.
Mm-hmm.
That they have basically, I haven't seen a review. I haven't heard any buzz.
Yeah, it's been mediocre as far as the response from critics.
So they basically showed it to the top 15 markets.
Yeah.
Cleveland sits just outside of that now. So it tells me they know what they have right there, which is not anything that's going to move the needle greatly. And that's disappointing considering my wife and I saw the first trailer and it's like, can't wait to see this. This looks like fun.
Yeah.
For fun. I guess I'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah, another intriguing movie. Now, this is, I obviously pause a little bit because of the release date, but we are going to get a Ridley Scott movie at the end of the summer on August 28th, The Dog Stars. Ridley Scott's been a very prolific filmmaker for a long time, and he's made some great movies. Obviously, the August 28th, release doesn't give me a lot of excitement, but it's good that we're getting some of these titans of filmmaking that are coming out with movies this year because it seems like we've had a lot of years where we just didn't really see a Spielberg in the summer or a Ridley Scott or a Christopher Nolan, obviously, since Oppenheimer. So it's at least good that we're getting some of these big filmmakers, event films, people that at least in the film community will respect Ridley Scott. Maybe not necessarily in the vast majority of the mass goers, but they will respect Steven Spielberg. They will respect Nolan. And I think there's at least something, there's obviously a lot of cash grabs like the, live action Moana, is definitely going to be that, which the trailer looked stupid. And in my opinion, like it just looks like a copy and paste from the animated movie, which I thoroughly enjoy the animated movie, the first one, but we don't need a copy and paste into live action. And that's what that looks like.
Well, that's what Lilo and Stitch basically was. So Disney's not going to mess with their formula. I mean,
right.
Make it the same. That only with people. And you mentioned Ridley Scott, and I look at his most recent filmography, and the best thing he's done in the past, we'll go back 5 years, is a streaming miniseries for Apple TV, Dope Thief, which I loved. And I don't know how many episodes of that he directed, but maybe that's why I was like, I mean, the subject matter given Blade Runner is right in his wheelhouse. So we shall see. I mean, and that's basically my take on the entire summer. It's like,
yeah,
I'm sorry. I look at this stuff and I'm like, nothing here, nothing to see.
I get that. I mean, it's probably valid, but just looking at the release schedule, it seems like in the last few years, especially right after COVID, it was really like 2 or 3, competitive money-making type movies. At least here, it seems like you're destined to see. Now, I don't know what Masters of the Universe will do. I don't know what Star Wars will do, but there's at least something out there. I mean, to me, it seems like there's more to be released this summer than in years past, where you might have like one movie. Instead now you're starting to get competing movies that are different genres, so you're going to get different audiences to the not that I care about The Breadwinner with Nate Bargatze, but that's going up against like Pressure with Brendan Fraser and movies like that, where it seems like the last few years we really haven't seen a lot of those wide releases that have come out that are at least competing against each other for different audiences.
Well, and you get that again. You ask how Masters of the Universe is going to do. Going to do just fine because it's programmed opposite Scary Movie. As far as The Breadwinner, I haven't listened to any of Nate Bargatze's comedy.
I actually am not a fan, to be honest with you. I don't think he's that funny.
What kind of comedy does he do?
It's just this like everyman deadpan. Like, I don't know. It's hard to describe because like his delivery is what. Like I will say when he hosts Saturday Night Live and they do like that George Washington on the boat skit, it's very funny. Outside of that, I don't find any of his stand up very funny. It's just kind of every man like observations and just kind of this
Oh,
deadpan monotone delivery.
so Seinfeld for the 21st century.
Sort of, maybe not quite that observing, but like
Oh, not as good Seinfeld as for the 21st.
well, it just I think it comes across as dull to me because even if he's saying something that's funny, his delivery is so like monotone and just so like personality. Like there's a lack of personality with everything he says, even though like some people find it hilarious and maybe that's why they do because of his delivery, but just not for me. And obviously a movie where he becomes a stay-at-home dad and in the trailer they buy 2 weeks worth of underwear and then light it on fire when it's the end of 2 weeks and just buy a new set because apparently he's never learned how to like operate a washing machine, which is weird, I think, but I guess that's possible.
I submit to you, Michael Keaton did it better in Mr. Mom, but I digress.
Well, and I guess they're yeah, well, no, but I was kind of. Are you interested in Pressure with Brendan Fraser? And this is a movie that's been in development for a few years.
I've seen Pressure.
Okay.
I'll slightly spoil my review and say I like Pressure.
Okay.
So
Seemed like an odd summer release schedule.
It is. It's really. I don't know if they're trying to capitalize. Well, that's not even Memorial Day weekend. That's this weekend.
Yeah.
I don't know what the thought process was behind that. They're thinking that people are going to be looking for something different beyond the Mandalorian then, or what? But
yeah. I think they might cater to a different audience there, maybe a little older generation that, I don't know. I'm kind of intrigued to see what kind of an audience that movie has.
It's going to be not to sound flippant, condescending, or anything. It's going to appeal to an older, more discerning, and probably more educated audience.
Yeah,
who are still familiar with the ancient history known as World War II.
Yes.
And it's opening a week before D-Day.
Okay. So, yeah, that makes sense, I guess. Yeah. I guess that's why they picked. Yeah. Okay. I mean, obviously you think of a movie like that, you kind of think quasi biopic, maybe like a fall release, kind of, especially World War II, not exactly, like being handled by a Spielberg where it's like a summer movie release. But, I think it's got some intrigue as something unique for audiences. And like you said, maybe a certain population of the audience that has the disposable income that wants to go to a movie that's not, the second or third one in a series. And that might be a good option for them. I did want to ask you, what are your thoughts on the Odyssey? I mean, obviously, Nolan has been box office gold, maybe with the exception of Tenet and Interstellar. But this is a guy that's an event filmmaker at this point. But there's been a lot of backlash with the Odyssey, and probably dumb backlash because of the casting choices that he has made. But what do you make? Do you think that this is going to be another one of those, $1.5 billion, $2 billion type, movies from Nolan?
Oh, how many classical literature, and I do mean classical literature fans are there?
I will say, in full disclosure, I'm a big fan of Greek mythology, and I did take ancient literature in college. I love the Iliad more than the Odyssey, but from the start, I was super excited about Nolan taking on this type of project because it seems like Greek mythology does not translate very well to film, or at least it doesn't translate well to audiences. So that's why I was so intrigued that he chose this project because it's not super original because, it's based off of a poem, and not that we've seen the Odyssey before a lot, but we have seen it on TV and things like that. But we just haven't seen a lot of success. I mean, Immortals I like, but it was a 300 copy and paste. Troy was 22 years ago at this point. So, we're talking about not a lot of like guarantees in the Greek mythology world for box office.
Two things. There are probably two directors who could have gotten this made. One is doing Disclosure Day, and the other is Christopher Nolan.
Right.
The next thing is, whose fault is it that audiences can't appreciate something based on, again, Greek mythology, classical literature, and give it a chance? With all due respect, I think our culture has been dumbed down. I mean, I hopefully nobody has seen Clash of the Titans before this, because I suspect that they'll go in expecting to get that. And I'm not here for that. Not to disparage Clash of the Titans. I know there was something decent there, but will it do $1.5 billion to $2 billion? I'm not going out on a limb saying I don't think so. I think it'll do very well. I really do. And do you know the rating? Its rating yet? Has it been given one?
As far as it's like PG-13 or R?
Yeah.
I have not seen anything. I would almost venture to guess that it's going to be PG-13, but I'm not sure.
Well, let's see. It has no rating yet, according to IMDb.
Okay.
Now, say it gets an R rating. I think that, oddly enough, that puts butts in the seats, because Sword and Sandal, epic.
Yeah. You don't get a lot of those these days.
Right. A lot of people are thinking Christopher Nolan does Gladiator or something to that effect, when I think that Christopher Nolan is far, far too compelling a filmmaker to not do anything that doesn't have any emotional and intellectual heft to it.
Right.
So this may be that may be the biggest question of the summer.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating, because on one hand you think, well, it's Nolan, and Tenet was one of those. It was a release during a pandemic, so you really can't judge the box office off of that. Obviously, Oppenheimer was a almost 3-hour talkie that made, and it was rated R, that made nearly $1 billion. So the conventional wisdom would think that it's going to at least make $1 billion, and I think it will. I don't know if that will be deemed a success. I don't know if Universal really cares if $1 billion is profitable to them, or if they need more because of the bloated budget that they had for it. I mean, entire movie is shot in IMAX. There's 2 million miles or 2 miles worth of IMAX reel. You've got all these big stars. Obviously, I'm sure they took a big payday. And, I mean, Nolan is very, he's very inclined to shoot on location and, in these remote areas to probably tell this story. So I'm guessing that the movie is going to need to make a lot of money to break even. But I do wonder if it doesn't, is that sort of the death of Swords and Sandals epics, because we don't really see them a whole lot these days. And if Nolan can't get butts in the seats, who's going to?
I'll be honest with you. I didn't even see Gladiator 2, so it's not a must-see genre for me.
Yeah.
Gladiator 1, I loved.
I did not like Gladiator 1. I did not. I thought it was too sad and somber. Like, there was no like redeemable hope with it. It was just like, let's beat you to death with being sad for this guy, for Maximus. And it was just, while it's gorgeous to look at.
Emotional hefts, Craig. Emotional hefts.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, I'm excited about it. I'm still excited about Disclosure Day. So there's plenty to see. Is there what is the must see that you will, if it's not screened, or if it's screened, that you have to have your butt in the seat for?
It's probably going to be the Odyssey and Disclosure Day. Supergirl. Those three.
Okay. So Super Troopers 3 not making the cut. I did not watch Super Troopers 2 actually though either. So
I I vaguely remember offering Super Trooper or reviewing Super Trooper 1 way back
I
in the day.
liked it. I thought it was, it was stupid but funny. Yeah, kind of what you expect.
Now see, here's a story. I was they used to back in the day. You could count on studios doing what's called doing promotional tours and bringing the actual stars of the film
Sure.
in the town for interviews.
Yeah.
They were doing that for Super Trooper 3, and I had to tell my contact, I'm like, didn't like the first, didn't see the second,
Mm-hmm.
and they asked if I was interested in interviews. I'm like, no, not really.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I went. The last one was when.
I don't even know. I can't even tell you. I have no I know that it was like set in Canada, like they were like going up against the Canadian Mounties or something, but I have no idea when it came out.
2018. So
I mean, well, in the first one, didn't the first one come out in the early 2000s though? So
it
there's a
did.
big gap in between the first and the second one. So,
And see, to me, this says straight up, I need money. I mean, I
but will it make money though? I mean, I don't know if the second one even really. I mean, I'm assuming it made enough money to get a sequel, but it just seems like, yeah, the first one came out in 2001, so a 17-year gap in between the first and second.
and
Yeah, I
then
mean, it's got
another
to be somewhat profitable.
I don't know. Maybe it'll play well in Canada.
Well, I don't think they're going to be in Canada this year. I'm not exactly sure where they're going to be doing their business, but I don't know. I think the third one was Canada. The poster for this one for the third one is incredibly strange. It looks like it has like dragons on it and stuff. So I have no idea what this is all about, but
It does.
yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Who knows? Maybe it'll be stoner comedy fun. Who knows? But I'll probably skip that as well.
I wonder why.
Yeah. Well, I know you kind of teased earlier that you will have Pressure next week. Anything else coming up streaming or at the theater that you'll be able to review?
The Burrows,
Okay.
which is produced by the Duffer Brothers.
Okay.
You can infer from that what you want. You can imply whatever. Imply whatever.
Yeah.
There is, what did I start chucking out today? Oh, there. See how old I'm getting, Craig? I can't remember what the hell I watched. Oh, I watched more of The Burrows.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm almost done with season 1 of that. So there will be something else. I have to figure it out.
All right. Well, we'll leave everybody on their edge of the seats, and we'll get to review something a little bit unique for a change in the summer movie schedule. An original movie that doesn't have like a sequel or a prequel or threequel or whatever. So I'm excited to hear what you have to say about Pressure with Brendan Fraser.
Meteorology has never looked so sexy.
All right, George. Well, we appreciate your time. You can read everything at by George at beaconjournal.com. George, we appreciate you getting through this summer movie release schedule that you deem to be a little bit less than stellar, and I, for some reason, think it looks fun, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just grasping at straws here, knowing that Nolan and Spielberg are coming out this year.
Overly optimistic much? I guess. Two heavyweights.
I'm not even sure that I feel like Disclosure Day looks great either. I just, it's Spielberg, so what do you say? You can't say it looks bad, right?
For me, you know what the fun in Disclosure Day would ultimately be? that it would be revealed to be a sequel to Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Oh.
That would really trip my trigger.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe. You never know. All right. Well, as always, we will talk to you again next week. Have fun in streaming and have fun at the movies, George.
All right.